Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we have a video saying that Arkham City is the worst Arkham game, which I find to be a fairly interesting take. Now, to be clear, we'll hear at the later on in this video that he doesn't actually think Arkham City is a bad game. He just thinks it's the worst in the Arkham series. The reason why I'm making this video is because I think a lot of his criticisms of Arkham City just don't hold up very well. So remember, guys, do not go sending any hate to this guy over his take. He doesn't even dislike the game. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Batman Arkham City sucks. Kinda. Everybody seems to praise it as the best Arkham game, and I think that's a massive discredit to the other games in the franchise. Listen, I love these games, and if you were to really question me as to which is the best, I'd say Arkham Knight, though my subjective favourite has got to be Asylum. I understand what they were trying to do with City, making it a bigger open world and including more of the Bat family in the Rogues Gallery, but sometimes bigger isn't always better. More critical of you will probably be asking why I like Knight so much, and that's a video for another day, but right now it's time to tell you why Batman Arkham City is the worst Arkham game. Let's start with Hugo Strange. He's one of the game's three main villains, and I'm fine with that. Strange has always been an interesting character, and it's cool to see him get some limelight. That's if he actually got any limelight. He appears right at the start and makes it very obvious that he knows your secret identity. That's massive, and it instantly makes him a threat. He taunts you for maybe the first hour of the game and then fucks off. Him knowing your identity goes absolutely nowhere.
Hugo Strange plays a very, I guess, kind of weird role in the story. He mostly operates in the background of the game, but to say that him knowing your identity goes nowhere is kind of crazy, considering that, one, the fact that he knows Batman's identity is the whole reason he's able to do all of this, because that's how he works with Ra's al Ghul, because Ra's saw potential in him once he revealed Batman's identity. But also, the reason why he doesn't, hold it over Batman's head more, I guess, or reveal it to the world, is because he specifically says that if Batman tries to stop him, everybody will know his secret. Batman doesn't try to stop him until Protocol 10 is already going through, and at that point, Hugo Strange already believes he won, so he'd have no reason to reveal it, because he doesn't believe Batman will be able to stop it.
He comes back at the end for a bit, but we'll get to that. Where Arkham Asylum felt very controlling the way it was dishing out characters, City just keeps piling them on you. In the first 3 hours of the game, you're introduced to Strange, Penguin, Harley, the Joker, Two-Face, Bane, Catwoman, Ivy, and the Riddler. They've also, at this point, made it obvious that Mr. Freeze is going to be around, along with Solomon Grundy. And that's just the members of the Rogues Gallery, not including any of the smaller encounters or unrelated side quests.
So you say you're not counting anyone from side quests or, small encounters, but why did you bring up Bane and Riddler? They're both from side quests that don't have anything to do with the main story. So you contradicted yourself here. And also, most of the characters you did list play a fairly minimal role in the story and have very minimal presence compared to Hugo Strange, who is constantly in the background, taunting you about Protocol 10. So I'm not entirely sure what you're getting at here, but okay.
I refuse to believe that they expected this man to stand out and put alongside these other villains, especially given how much screen time they're given in comparison. I wish they could have got Christopher Lee instead of Corey Burton here too, since he just does a Christopher Lee impression. But that's just a small gripe. The other two main antagonists of the game is Ra's al Ghul and the Joker, because when isn't it the Joker? Origins and Knight pretend their main villain isn't him, but it always ends up being.
Arkham Knight's main villain isn't the Joker, it's Scarecrow.
Ra's is cool, and he's honestly the best part of the game. The Joker feels forced, more so than in Knight if you ask me.
Care to explain why the Joker is forced in this game? No? Okay.
The game doubles down on the whole Titan formula thing from Asylum, literally the main criticism of that game. If it wasn't for how iconic he is, and for how good Mark Hamill is at voice acting this fella, I really wouldn't give a shit about his character in the slightest here.
People's main problem with the Titans and Arkham Asylum is just how much of the game they are. They are pretty much the main boss fights. That's why people had such a problem with them in Arkham Asylum, not the idea itself. And they wouldn't scrap Titan in Arkham City. They already had Arkham City planned by the time Arkham Asylum released. They wouldn't just scrap story plans they already had. And also, Titan plays a very different role in this story, in a very minimal one at that, so why would people complain about it here?
People praise the story of this game a decent amount, but when you actually lay it out, you begin to realise it's just stupid. It's like they came up with an idea for a few boss fights, arguably the weakest part of the game, and then designed the entire story around reaching these fights. Let's go through these fights. Mr. Hammer. He's barely even a boss, and he pretty much becomes a standard enemy afterwards.
Mr. Hammer is a mini-boss at best. Notice his lack of a health bar that other bosses have.
Penguin's Titan Henchman is no different. He's just Bane from Asylum, but not as cool.
Once again, that's a mini-boss at best. Notice the lack of a health bar.
Mr. Sickle is then quite literally just the other half of Mr. Hammer. We've got the Penguin and Solomon Grundy fight that is as simple as placing explosive gel on some weak points.
You're painting the Solomon Grundy boss fight in a disingenuous light. You also have to worry about the fact that those weak points are also a environmental hazard whenever they're activated. Not to mention all of Grundy's attacks, like him throwing his ball and chain at you, the electric shockwave attack he can do, the, I guess, electrified maggots, for lack of a better term, that spill out of his body. And not to mention some other stuff too, like him spinning the ball and chain around and you having to dodge it. So yeah, you're just painting the boss in a disingenuous light to make it look worse than it actually is.
Ra's al Ghul looks amazing, but in practice it's just mashing dodge and throwing electricity whenever you're not dodging. I will give it credit for this Kung Fu Panda style bit.
Once again, you're painting the Ra's al Ghul boss in a disingenuous light. You don't just spam the electric gun. You have to dodge all of his projectiles and then deal with the sand clones of Ra's al Ghul. So yeah.
We've got Mr. Freeze, who always gets a lot of praise, and I do have to agree that it's kind of deserved. The harder difficulties make you utilise every single one of his stealth attacks, and it's neat to see the boss adapt to you. Then there's the fight against the Joker, and it's just another arena fight like all the other enemy encounters, though arguably one of the more thought out ones. Finally, there's Clayface, and as awesome as Batman with a sword is, it's just spam pressing the quick ice grenade button over and over, occasionally dodging. Yeah, the final boss is Clayface, which is a bit weird.
Conveniently leaving out the fact that you also have to fight his, like, I guess you can call them clay minions, I don't know what they're actually called. But yeah, you're conveniently leaving that out, and why is it weird that Clayface is the final boss? He was a part of the big Joker twist at the end of the game.
Where did Hugo Strange go? Oh, well, how did we defeat Ra's? Oh.
I'm sorry, were you expecting Hugo Strange to have some big boss fight? He's not a physical threat to Batman. He doesn't even pose a physical threat to Batman at all. What? And why is it a bad thing that we don't fight Ra's again? We already beat him. Why would we fight him again?
And then the Joker, oh wait, no, that's just Clayface. It's a good bait and switch, and I do like Clayface as a villain, so I can't complain too much. It's at least a better fight than the first game. What else has changed from Asylum? Oh, you can pretty much endlessly glide now, which is great, and it makes navigating Arkham City fairly enjoyable, when it works. It's a bit janky to say the least, and they make you do these stupid augmented reality sections just to get a grapple boost, which is practically essential to playing the game.
You didn't explain how the gliding mechanics are janky, and you're making it out like you have to do every single gliding AR challenge just to get the grapple boost, when no, you only have to do one set of them.
They're just plain annoying, slow, and I always hate replaying them every time I go through this game again. You can find them dotted around the map. I say around, but it's more like half around, to be honest. The bottom of the map is blocked off by something called the Wonder Tower, and every single damn time you want to go from here to here, you've got to go all the way around.
I could understand his point here if Arkham City's map was like really big, but it isn't. You can get from one side to the other like fairly quickly, like maybe 2 minutes or so. Maybe not exactly that, but it was somewhere around there, like roughly. So yeah, if Arkham City's map was like huge, then yeah, I can definitely see the horseshoe design being a problem. But the map itself really isn't that big, so I don't think it's that big of a deal, considering how fast you can traverse around it.
You might think you're going to be exploring all of the city, but in reality that's just not true. You'll be seeing more of this barbed wire than anything else in the entire city. How's combat then? Well, it's pretty much just Asylum again. There's nothing game-changing thrown in here, like the fear takedowns from Night.
What do you mean nothing game-changing was added to the game's combat? You have the multi-ground takedown, which is one of the most, one of the best upgrades you can get for combat. It changes the pace of the game so much. You can get through combat encounters so much faster. And not to mention, also, the counter system was reworked, so multiple enemies can attack you at once instead of just going one at a time, making combat much more engaging. You have the blade dodge takedowns, you have the disarm takedowns, where you break the weapon or shield, whatever your enemies have. I don't I don't see what you mean by nothing game-changing was added. They added a lot to this combat system compared to Arkham Asylum.
There's one difference though, and that's how countering enemies works in hard mode. In Asylum, the little counter symbol doesn't appear above enemies' heads when you're on hard mode, but City just scrapped that idea and put it there anyway. It feels way more awesome to be perfecting the combat when there's not big flashing symbols. It turned the combat into less of a quick time event and more into an actual challenge, but hey, what do I know?
Play New Game Plus.
Detective mode sucks here too. I'm curious how much of the game I spent in detective mode in this playthrough. It was the same for Asylum, but I feel like there were a lot more practical uses in that game. Here we have like one DNA trace section and 2 investigations. The rest of it is just trying to see where enemies are. There's a point where enemies start to block out your usage of the detective mode, but then they didn't program it so that these enemies don't just walk underneath a super easy stealth attack point, practically erasing that whole idea anyway. And why the hell can't I wear my other costumes during the first playthrough? I have to first beat the game and then play through in New Game Plus just to look like animated Batman? No thanks.
I don't really agree with his detective mode criticism, but yeah, the enemy AI in stealth sections is stupid, but that's more so an issue with the Arkham games in general rather than just Arkham City. And your point about the animated series Batman skin or whatever is a nitpick at best.
Also, Riddler missions suck ass. Remember those riddles from Asylum? Gone. Now there's just a bunch of Riddler trophy puzzles. Remember the whole Metroidvania aspect of Asylum where you go back to older areas and find new ways to traverse with your new gadgets and it'd lead to new areas in the story? Gone. Oh, I mean you do go back to older areas in the story, but all your new gadgets can do in them is get more Riddler trophies. The side quests suck. The DLC sucks too, and you know what? Despite it all, I really like this game.
Complaints about the Riddler are valid, but that's, once again, just a complaint with the entire series in general, not necessarily City itself. The Metroidvania aspects of Arkham Asylum aren't really in Arkham City, because Arkham City isn't a Metroidvania game. It's an open world action game. They're not Metroidvanias. The Arkham Asylum was, Arkham City is not, and you didn't explain why the side quests or DLC suck, so I have nothing to go into with that. But yeah, guys, that'll have to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and all that other stuff. See you guys next time. Peace.